All right, y'all. So we got parents discover teen son's horrific secrets. The chilling case of Brian Coey.
Grand Junction, Colorado, February 2021, 19-year-old Brian Coey Jr. committed a brutal crime so horrific and ruthless that the presiding judge sentenced him to life in prison.
And I pull the sheets back, I get on him, and then and he wakes up. He's, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh!
The victim, 69-year-old Warren Barnes, was known locally as the Reading Man. A homeless individual who found solace under a bridge, Warren was often seen engrossed in paperbacks or helping store owners with odd jobs. Sadly, his severed head sits in Brian Coey's closet.
He took his head off? What?
Now let's talk about Brian Coey Jr. Coming from a family that included parents Brian Sr. and Terry, he had a troubled past marked by mental health issues.
I was about to
Brian
say.
himself reported suffering from major depressive disorder and Asperger's syndrome, and he had a disturbing fascination with death and morbidity. He was widely known for his questionable, dark sense of humor. He would often say things or make jokes that were extremely inappropriate. On February 27, 2021, after a family movie night where they watched 1984, Brian stepped out into the night, armed with a kitchen knife and dressed in his blue jumpsuit he used for last
Bruh, look at that fucking knife, man.
year's Halloween. It was in the darkness near the Grand Avenue footbridge that he came across Warren, who was sleeping under a canvas.
He was saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why? Ah. And I said, I've been wanting to do this for a long time, murder someone. The whole ordeal lasted about a minute and a half. Is it okay if I do a demonstration? Oh, yeah.
Yo, that's how you know he off. Because he's saying it's so calm. Then he said, can I do a demonstration?
This is him. I was straddled on top of him like this. Okay. And he couldn't fight back. It was actually surprisingly easy. I was barely breaking the sweat.
What?
I thought, oh, this guy, he's going to be tough. But no, it was actually surprisingly easy. And during the time I was growling and making animalistic noises.
He placed
Yo, what? Yeah, lock him away. He do not need to be walking amongst society. What the fuck?
some of the body parts into a plastic bag and transported them to his bedroom closet. To dispose of the remains, Brian attempted to hide what remained of Warren's body in a river. But while unloading the evidence, his car became stuck and slid into the river with him in it. Seeking help, he was able to flag down an acquaintance to use their phone to call his parents. Police arrived at the scene and were bewildered at how his car managed to get into the river. After several phone calls to get a tow truck, his parents drop Brian off at home and go back to the scene. Police notice blood smeared on the bumper. Raising suspicions, his parents make a phone call to Brian. Brian acts completely confused as to what it was, and the issue is dropped.
It's right here.
Oh, you see it?
Yeah. Because there's an arm.
Oh, shit.
What?
Hey,
Nah.
Search ever.
there's an arm, there's another arm.
Oh man, you as a cop to see this, like, yo, you got to think about them, like, when they got to go home at the end of the night after seeing like this arm, this, like, you know what that do to the mental, like.
Okay, hold on. Do some pictures. Starting right now.
There's another one.
Right, here's a leg.
Oh,
So that could be the upper arm or a leg.
Well, there's three.
what?
There, and there.
Are they laughing? Am I tripping or are they laughing?
Pieces down there. I mean,
A patrol guy to yellow tape it and then hold it, because the potential is that there's a secondary by the boat launch.
Yeah, I would think so.
but we
'cause
can
if
run
you
out
wanna
there and
go,
look at that, and then if you guys, we can just ask for a.
I'm switching to primary. Hold on.
But if we can get the lab out here, that would be the best thing.
yeah, get forensics out here. Yeah.
Man, that's really where somebody was sleeping at. That was his spot?
We're good. Yeah.
Damn, man. That shit just make you think, like, what the fuck was going through his mind to do this? Like, old boy just sleep. He ain't got nowhere to go. This is it. Like, he down and out, and then he get attacked.
We weren't caught attacking anybody.
The following day, on March 1st, 2021, Brian's parents made a horrific discovery. While cleaning his room, his mom, Terry, stumbled upon a severed head and dismembered body parts.
Yo, you gotta think about that. As a mom, you just cleaning your something room, doing laundry, and you see that in there, you probably like, yo, what the fuck? Yo,
Hidden
whoa.
in a container in the closet.
What?
She found it heavy and teeming with maggots.
Oh.
Terrified, she immediately called for help. When
Maggots?
police arrived and interviewed Brian, the unsettling footage captured during their interaction quickly became infamous. Brian was eerily calm and showed no emotion when police confirmed his parents' reports. The officer put him in her patrol car and didn't even handcuff him because he was not a threat. Ironically, Brian turned out to be one of the most cold-blooded murderers this town has ever seen. During a pivotal police interview, one officer asked Brian, "Your parents have concerns about some stuff they may have found in your room?"
Parents have some concerns of some stuff they may have found in your room?
Yeah, I believe so.
And what would it be?
He about to say it? He
A
about to say
human
it.
head and hands.
Do you have
Oh.
anything on you he's gonna cut, poke, hurt, stick me anything without reaching for nothing? Don't reach for nothing.
My phone and my wallet, that's
Okay.
it.
Well, I'm gonna have you face that way. Put your hands on top of your head for me real quick. I just want to make sure you interlace your fingers for me real quick, all right?
Put him in
Pressed
cuffs.
further about how
Fuck
he ended
that.
up with the remains, Brian confessed, "I murdered him." And when asked what he used, he simply responded, "A knife."
Oh.
The officer inquired about the reasoning behind the murder. Brian's unsettling admission was, "I always wondered what murder would feel like." Brian was giddy with excitement telling his story. Smiling, he showed absolutely no remorse and seemed proud of his accomplishment. During questioning, Brian elaborated on the events of that night. He described it vividly, stating, "It was the night of February 27th. It was a full moon, and I figured I could see so well. Why not try it out? I was in a bad state of mind at that time. I have major depressive disorder." He recounted spotting Warren on the railway track, saying, "I grabbed my knife, put on 3 layers of gloves because plastic gloves can betray their users, and then I stabbed his neck."
What?
Brian described Warren's panic as he repeatedly asked, "What are you doing? Why?" In a shocking twist, Brian admitted he was making animalistic noises while committing the act. Brian stabbed Warren multiple times in the neck and stated that once he was done, his head was already halfway off his body. Brian
Yo,
continued to decapitate
that is
Warren's
sick.
head, cut one arm off, and several other body parts. He even laughed as he recounted dismembering Warren before.
And they said you really gotta cut into somebody. Like, you really gotta dig in to cut off a limb. So that means he, oh my fucking God, that's
Awkwardly
disturbing.
saying, "Sorry, that's morbid." He confessed, "I've been wanting to do this for a long time." Brian explains that he cut Warren's belly open just to see his guts.
Oh.
He then proceeded to toss the severed body parts in different directions, but not before putting Warren's head in an old pizza box and his severed hands in the
A
trunk.
pizza box?
Brian took Warren's wallet and put the knife in the glove box, headed home to store the parts, then left to dump his torso in the river. That brings us to the scene where his car slid into the river and he made several mistakes. Unlike Dahmer or Ted Bundy, whom he idolized, Brian forgot to hide all the evidence in the heat of the moment. His parents grew very suspicious when his father found Warren's wallet and a large knife in the glove box. Once his father reported the wallet found, he questioned Brian. This is what led his mother to investigate in his room while Brian was at a
Okay, that
friend's
makes
house.
sense.
Charged with first-degree murder and tampering with a deceased human body, Brian's case quickly garnered attention. Right after his arrest, his defense team sought to move the case to juvenile court. But the district attorney noted that the juvenile court had no jurisdiction in this matter since Brian had turned 18.
Yeah.
In September 2021,
Send his ass to
crucial
prison.
details emerged during a court hearing. Officer Thomas Stuckenschneider testified about discovering parts of Warren's remains wrapped in plastic bags during a search of the Cohey household. He noted finding a blue jumpsuit in the dryer, suspected to belong to Brian on the night of the murder. In January 2023, Brian went to trial, lasting 12 days. His defense claimed he was insane during the act, but in Colorado, to be found legally insane, one must be unable to distinguish right from wrong due to mental illness. Dr. Craig Gustafson, who had treated Brian for depression since 2018, testified that Brian had no signs of psychosis before the murder. In fact, the doctor...
Man, he was hiding that shit from you. Like, you wasn't the right person to pull that info out of him, because that was there. You don't just wake up one day and say, man, I might just go decapitate somebody's body. You had these thoughts for years, bruh. Years, dog.
Doctor had seen no abnormalities during a CAT scan that he ordered due to Brian's complaints of headaches. Counselor B. Phillips, who met with Brian multiple times, revealed troubling insights into his mindset. Brian referred to trans individuals as it and questioned the morality of causing harm to others.
Pussy said it.
She confirmed he demonstrated an understanding of right and wrong during their sessions. Witnesses, including a
Try to say he
co-worker from
competent.
Brian's workplace Safeway, testified that in the months leading up to the murder, Brian became more vocal about his feelings, including feelings of being friendless and disconnected. Forensic psychologist Dr. Serrano Amerigo testified about Brian's state of mind during questioning, affirming he showed no signs of mental distress or psychosis. She also answered a juror's question about the nature of homicidal thoughts, stating that such thoughts don't automatically indicate insanity. During the trial, disturbing parts of an assessment were read aloud, revealing Brian harbored impulses of violence from a young age. He stated, "When I would see a person, the first thing in my mind would be to picture them being shot or stabbed." Forensic video analyst Jordan Huslig revealed significant findings from Warren's phone history on the night of the murder.
You know he was looking up some
discovered
crazy
that Warren
shit.
had made a call to an unknown number around 7 p.m., interacted with a job app called People Ready Job Stack,
Oh, that was
and
his
played
phone.
what appeared to be a mobile poker game. Additionally, Brian's web search history went back months and months on ways to kill someone. As the
That
trial
was some
progressed,
crazy shit.
jurors were shown graphic images from the crime scene, leading to visible discomfort
They took this to trial? Like, you really took this to trial? like really?
among the jury. One defense attorney raised concerns about a juror's mental state after witnessing one juror break down in tears and turn away from the images.
Yeah,
However,
how could you look at
Judge
that?
Richard Gurley overruled the objection, acknowledging that it was understandable to look away given the gruesome content. Brian's parents took the stand next. Terry shared that her son has autism, ADHD, and anxiety, along with having been on medication since he was 5. She suggested that his autism contributed to his intense fixations. In later months, Terry found a black backpack belonging to Brian that contained disturbing items like zip ties, a hammer, duct tape, and pliers. She spoke of his remarkable intellect, recounting how Brian was fascinated by astrophysics in his youth, a passion that eventually morphed into an interest in crime scene investigation after watching The Silence of the Lambs. Terry noted that the day after the murder, Brian seemed...
See, man, this is why they try not to glorify serial killers, because there's always a copycat. It's always somebody that wants to emulate that person. So that's why they try to, like, but you know, it's money highlighting these stories, whether they're in the right or wrong, victim, not victim, like, and then we get people like this.
lighter than in the months prior. She questioned him about blood found on the trunk of his car, to which he casually claimed it was theatrical blood. Brian's father recalled the night of the murder, including their movie viewing of 1984. He reiterated Brian Jr.'s explanation about the blood, attributing it to a cut on his finger. One of the final witnesses was Dr. Paul Sprague, who performed a sanity evaluation on Brian. He argued that while it might appear Brian plotted the murder, it seemed more likely he was indulging his obsession with crime rather than premeditating such an act. After a 2-day deliberation, the jury returned with their verdict on February 3rd, 2023. Brian was found guilty of first-degree murder, tampering with a deceased human body, and tampering with evidence. Strikingly, Brian showed no emotion as the verdict was read. Trish Mari, assistant district attorney, expressed the gravity of the situation. Warren Barnes lost his life in the most violent of ways. His friends, family, and community suffer his loss. This outcome demonstrates the checks and balances within the criminal justice system. Justice prevailed when the jury rendered guilty verdicts, holding the defendant accountable for his horrendous crimes. As the proceedings closed, Terry made a heartfelt statement. "I would just like to express our family's deep and sincere sympathies to the community and family of Mr. Barnes."
Yeah, and as like a parent, like, your kid killed somebody, and it's like, it's nothing you can really say. So you say what you can say, but you don't know how they're gonna feel about it. You don't know how somebody's gonna take it, because it's like, well, you brought this person into the world, and you. So it's like, it's kind of like, it's a fucked up situation to be in. Like, it's a real fucked up situation to be in. Your kid killed somebody, and now you gotta face the people's family who they killed, and it's just like, it's like, man, they like, well, you get to see your son, I don't. You get to see him in jail, so it's that whole conversation. Like, that's what usually comes from this. Like, so I get both sides, and in that sense, like, sheesh.
Barnes. His absence is felt profoundly, as Monique Lanati, the owner of a nearby bridal shop, shared. He was valued, he was loved, he is missed every single day. Geraldine Shipp, one of Warren's siblings, spoke about the haunting memories of her brother's tragic end. Just a day after he wished her a happy birthday, he was brutally murdered. Geraldine described Warren as a man of honor, a man of integrity, cherished by both his family and community. Brian Cohey Jr. was an extremely disturbed young man with a morbid fascination. His lack of remorse is perhaps the most troubling.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Because you never know. Like, you might know a little inkling about somebody. You might see that they off. Until it happened and you like, yo. Because they're not loud. They're not outspoken. They're real quiet to themselves. When you start to notice, like, certain little ticks about them or certain little things that, like, drive them crazy. But you never think it's going to go to this. Like, you never think it's going to go to, like, murder. You be like, oh, yeah. You know how this, you grow up with kids and they like they off. They just do their own thing. Not realizing that some of them might take it there. Like, some of them really might really go and kill. So you never know who you amongst, man. Like, this shit be crazy because you be having the ones where they be killing their whole family. Like the whole ID network. I tell people, I'm like, look, the ID network got a whole network based upon killing shit. Like, that's their whole thing is murder investigations. Like, and this shit be crazy. But yeah, on that note, I'm out. I'll let you on the next one.